Hey everybody, this is one of those crazy long stories, so you may want to only hear it in parts, and here we go. Everybody kept asking me, oh my God, Rick, are you still alive? They're coming to my boat, banging on the door. Rick, are you alive? And what happened is this. I did 4 hosting jobs for Art Basel, which killed me. I mean, I had a great time, but you do 4 in a row, man. At the end of it, you're exhausted. Well, after my 4th one, which was at the Astra rooftop, I had a great time at all 4 of them. So afterwards, I got a phone call. A friend of mine said, come over to Hyde. There's a great party here. And it was about 1 o'clock. And I said, okay. I drove the Porsche back to the marina, hopped on my Harley. And because of all the traffic during this time, which is the #1 festival that Miami has, Art Basel, and I drove my Harley over to Hyde SLS, parked on the side with no problem. Go to the front, and I said to the guy, I said, listen, I said, my name's supposed to be at the list. And the guy looks at me, and he said, listen, he said, you see these 100 people behind you? Their name's on the list too. I can't get you in. I said, oh. I said, okay, no problem. And I really didn't care, so I was going to go home. Well, I see this young lady there, and she and I start talking, very pretty blonde, and we're talking probably about 15 minutes. Guy comes over, and he looks at me, and he's a big, burly guy. Looks like he plays for the New York Giants. And says, I know who you are. I said, okay. He goes, you don't have to wait here. Follow me. Big burly guy. I said, where are we going? He said, I'll get you in, no problem. Okay. So we go behind him, and I'm holding on to the young lady's hand. We go right through the gate. The guy at the gate says, I can't let you in. And he looks at me and goes, oh, wait, I know who you are. You can get in. So we get in. Place is packed, and I'm just walking around, and somebody came up to me and asked me if I would be their spokesperson for their coffee company. It's a charity coffee company. And of course, charities, I do charity work all the time. I'm trying to get to heaven. And I'm going to. But this is what it was all about. So I said, sure, I'd be glad to. So we did a couple of videos for them. And it was very exciting. Then these 2 girls, young girls, came up to me, and they both like surrounded me. They said, "Oh my God, I know who you are," and they're like manhandling me. I'm like, yeah, you know, I had no idea what's going on, and before you know it, I said, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I brushed them off. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, I got to go home. I'm exhausted. I hop on my Harley, and I drive back to the marina where I live, and I put my hand in my pocket. The phone is not there. The phone's gone. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding. So in order to get in the gate, you need the phone. Well, you need the pass key on the phone. So I didn't have it, so I had to climb around the fence, which means you're over the water, and I've fallen in a couple times already. So I'm like, oh God, here we go again. I got to the boat, went to bed, woke up the next morning, went to AT&T to tell them what happened, and they immediately said they'll try to find it, and they had a location at the SLS. So I ran over to SLS, went over there, and the security there said, oh my God, you got pickpocketed, because it happened to 2 other people also that same night. Okay, it is what it is. So I went back to AT&T, I told them what happened, and I said I might as well just buy an i16 while I'm here. I said the i14 that I lost or was stolen will be replaced, and when it comes in, I give them the i14, and they just apply it towards the i16, which is great, no problem. Well, I take the i16, and they tell me that I have to go over to Apple to restore it on the iCloud, because they asked me, do I know what the code is for iCloud? I said, how would I know? I said, I did that 20 years ago. I gave him the box. I put the iCloud in my pouch in my Harley, and I proceeded to drive over to Apple, which is only about 10 minutes away. But before that, I went to a drugstore. I had to get some things at the drugstore. I got the whatever I needed and ran over to Apple. I go open the pouch, and the iPhone, my brand new i16, is gone. Gone. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. How it left, I have no idea. So I drove back to AT&T. I walked in the door and I said, guess what? They're like, what? I said, I lost the i16, my brand new phone, 45 minutes old. They're like, that's impossible. I said, it may be impossible, but I did it. I lost it. And they were like, nobody's ever done that in AT&T ever. I said, well, I did. And I did. I lost it. So now I'm paying for, I had to pay for the new i16, and I'm waiting for the i14 to come in. The i14 took almost a month, and the reason is it wasn't their fault, it wasn't my fault, it was just circumstances. I gave them the address, and for some crazy reason, it's the wrong address was given to them, and the phone never made it. And they had to do a search on the phone. The phone came back, and then I sent it to somebody else, and they were on vacation. By the time I got it, it was a month. So I was without a phone for a month, which people thought I had died. I had at least a dozen people knock on the side of my boat saying, Rick, are you alive? I'd open the doors, that's me. Said, what happened to you? I said, I'm incognito. I don't have a phone right now. They're like, you're kidding. I said, no. I said, I lost my i14. 45 minutes later, my new i16, I lost that. Everybody's laughing. I'm laughing. It is what it is. So between being pickpocketed at the SLS and them losing my phone at the mail department or whatever, and finally getting a phone. Finally, I was so excited when a friend of mine called me and said, hey, your phone is here, which is a little after New Year's. So I took the phone immediately to AT&T, and I was all excited. Now the story really begins. I run in there and said, here, I said, connect this thing, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. They said, okay. He said, well, Rick, it'll take about a half an hour now. And what am I going to do? So I ran over, got a pastry and a coffee. And about almost a half an hour later, maybe close to an hour, I walked in. I said, is it done? He said, yep, it's all set. Now you got to go over to Apple and have them put you on the iCloud. I'm like, okay. I said, let's do that now. So they gave me the phone, and whatever they did to it, I don't know, they changed the SIM cards and all this other stuff. I go to my Harley, and I go to start it. The key was, I left the key in it inadvertently. It left it in there. What happened to that? You know what happened to that. The battery died. It was dead as a doornail. I couldn't start it. I'm like, oh no, what else is going to happen to me? I looked all over the place for an extension cord. Nobody had one. I had to walk all the way down to Publix to get an extension cord. I bought a 20-foot extension cord. Walked all the way back. So I walked from 10th Street, 6th Street, 6th Street back to 15th Street rather. And the next thing you know is I'm sitting there like, here we go again. This is so crazy. I plug it in. I plug the cord in at AT&T, and I'm opening and closing the door for everybody, and I'm telling them to be careful of the wire because I have a trickle charge, which takes about an hour and a half to trickle charge the battery. Well, about a half an hour later, 3/4 of an hour later, a young lady inadvertently kicks the wire into the corner of the doorway. The door closes, snaps the wire. There's sparks flying all over the place. The AT&T lights are flickering. People are looking around like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh my God, what else is going to happen? So I had to go get another extension cord. I get another extension cord. I wait an hour. The battery's so dead that it just wouldn't work. So I had to move the bike from the parking lot because in South Beach, if you all know about this, they tow you in a second, and they love it. And they get $400 to $500 for towing. I think they give you, I shouldn't say I think, I know you give you a discount if you live in South Beach, which I do. So I get a little discount, but it still kills you when you still have to outlay $400 for something so stupid. What am I going to do? I had no choice. I had to start moving the motorcycle. Now this is a big Harley. It's the big sports, the 1200. It's very heavy. I started pushing the bike by myself. From 15th Street, I got down to 9th Street. It took me an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I was exhausted, but that was beats than them towing it. I got it to 9th Street. I hid it in the corner on 9th Street, went home, totally exhausted. And the next day I called a friend of mine. I said, hey, you got to help me. He said, oh, of course I will. So he came over. The two of us pushed it down to the marina. I put it on the trickle charge. It took almost 10 hours for the battery to charge. That's how dead it was. So that's fine. I went back to Apple, and it took them say 3 days to retrieve my iCloud, and then I'm finally back on. Oh, what a pain in the neck this has been. I lost a lot of stuff too. I mean, it wasn't backed up for the week before that I lost it, so I lost all that, all my fun photos and pictures from Art Basel, which I have a lot of them. All the parties I went to, oh, they were so much fun. And of course, I lost a month's worth of fun and frolic on the phone. I mean, I didn't stop from fun and frolic, but the phone stopped, and it was just hysterical. I mean, and somebody else at AT&T said, oh, if it was them, they said they would have been screaming mad. They said, what is it with you? You're still laughing about it. I said, well, of course I'm laughing. I said, who else loses a brand new i16 in 45 minutes? Me. And that's what happened. But I have to tell you another funny story with concerning this. So when I went in to get my iCloud at Apple, I had in my boat, which I didn't even know I had. I found it when I was cleaning up something, and I found an i3, which is what, about 20 years old or something. It's a little tiny thing like this. That's the one of the first iPhones made. And so I walked into Apple and I said to the young lady, she said, can I help you? I said, yeah, I have a new iPhone. I want to, connect it. And she said, oh, certainly. Do you have it with you? I said, of course, here it is. And I pulled out the i3. She looks at me, she goes, what's that? I said, it's an Apple. She goes, she couldn't know what to say. She had no idea what to say. And she started laughing. She goes, I've never seen that before. I said, that's because you're not old enough. She looked at she's called off everybody from around the Apple store and said, guys, look at this. And everybody came over, what is that? And I kept turning around because it has Apple on the back of it. And everybody was laughing. And finally the manager comes over and said, what's going on here? I said, well, I came to connect my Apple phone. And she looks, she goes, we can't connect that. That's like an antique. I said, so am I. Can you connect me? Everybody was dying laughing. Anyway, that's what happened. So now I'm back on the iCloud, and now here we go again, telling my stories. So one of the stories I'm going to tell you also, if you've got this far in this video, I want you to be prepared. I have a new book that's right now at the publishers, and I'm so excited for you to read this. You know, the first book I have, which is Drugs and Roses, I got 1 million compliments, good ones. I mean, people loved it. The biggest problem everybody said was it was too short, not enough stories. This one is a lot more stories and wilder stories, and they're all true and they're all crazy. This one is called More Roses, Less Drugs. And the third one, which I will be starting around probably April or May, is going to be called All Roses. That's the one where I really moved to Miami after living in Brazil for a long time. And then we start talking about the TV show, Marrying Millions, and the movies that I'm in, which is about a dozen movies now. And my first book that got me in a lot of trouble with a lot of people, and commercials that I've done and doing right now, and all the hosting jobs I do all over Miami, and everybody knows about that for sure. So that's going to be another good book also. And just so you know, a friend of mine sent the manuscript of my new book, my second book, into AI Google. And the review on that book is phenomenal. And at the end of the review, it says that this book is definitely going to be a movie or a TV series. And then it will be rounded off by the third book. And with the third book, that tells you a couple of people who ripped me off. And I'll tell you all about it. I can't wait to tell that story. Guys, you're the best. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I am back, finally. Ciao.